art class. I am a little shaded, but I thought maybe the field would be a better background in the parking lot, and the sun's not in my eyes, so that's why I wear this way. Um, okay, so my portfolio. A lot of this stuff might come off a little repetitive because I've kind of already. I'll be re-explaining things that I've done over the internship, um, over the past few terms, and I kind of my internship is made up of a handful of hours from different places, which I actually loved initially because I got a bunch of experiences and I got to meet all different people from kind of like all over the college athletic realm. It's just biting me in the butt now, having to write up about every one of them. So I will explain like kind of where I did my internships and what made up my internships. So I worked the Pac West women's and men's basketball conference tournament hosted at CBU, where I handled social media aspects for a couple teams, and then the Desert Stinger tournament hosted by Montana State Billings that took place in Vegas, the Tournament of Champions hosted by Stanislaus State in Turlock, and the NCAA Women's Basketball West Region Tournament, which was so crazy. And then just most recently, this past weekend, I worked like 40 hours in a span of like 3 days at the Brian Clay Invitational Track Meet on the campus of APU. And the track meet is kind of cool because it's a competition that features over 2,700 athletes representing over 325 universities and colleges, clubs, and so it's crazy. It's a lot of things go into that initial, like the invitational, like so what I handled. We'll get to that at some point. Why am I jumping the gun? So I'm just gonna go along with like the slides. So that was slide 2. So if you want to like listen to this while you're looking at the slides, hopefully this will like line up exactly with the slides. Let's see, and hopefully I don't go over the 15 minutes. If I do, just cut me off, whatever, it's fine. Because I did work at so many places, like I really want to share my experiences and my responsibilities and the opportunities that some of those led to. And 15 minutes is actually kind of short, and I ramble on and I try to talk fast, so let's see what I can do. Okay, so I'm on strengths, and the last slide talks about what is this, like the strength finder test, which I've never taken. I hear about it all the time, but it was never something I had to do for a course here at APU. So the only thing I have are my ASI results, achieving style thing, so I'll kind of hit that later on. But the strengths about the internships that I chose, I guess I'll start with like the Pac West. So I initially was going to work a part-time internship through their office, and that kind of fell through just because of responsibilities I have here on campus at APU. So I got the opportunity to network and be offered to like work that tournament. So that was really exciting. And then that was like the last of indoor competitions. So on like weaknesses, which is next, I kind of talk about being able to like work in athletics and like you kind of battle like the weather, and you kind of think about it like I went to school in the Midwest, like they actually have weather problems, whereas here it like rains once or twice and everyone's losing their mind, but still like things conflict, and like especially if you're working athletics, like your life kind of shifts with every schedule change, and that's something like all these internships kind of opened my eyes to. Just like the lifestyle of an athletic, working in athletics, because it is like a 7-day job, including like your 9 to 5, but you're also working evenings and weekends. So that was kind of eye-opening, which I still count as like a strength of this internship, just because like I would have never got to like firsthand experience being like overworked or like been spread so thin, trying to balance everything, like school full time and this and that. So, okay, that's strengths. I kind of mentioned strengths, but I also kind of mentioned weaknesses. So that's where I'm going to lead into with the SWOT analysis is the weaknesses. The hours. Oh, the hours were very demanding, and balancing a full-time work position and school like full-time school were like my biggest weaknesses personally, just because I feel like sometimes when I agree to do something, I agree to do it like 1,000%. And like this internship kind of like stressed me because I like knew I wasn't giving 100% every single time, just because like I was running on like 5 hours of sleep or less, and that's just hard. So those would be the weaknesses, but also like I think this internship really tested my ego. Like the final papers that I'll like turn in will be not even like half of the internship hours that I actually did, just because like I like didn't want to have to ask certain people to like sign papers for me, like they were babysitting me when they asked me to come like work for them or like help them, because it kind of was like, oh, like they kind of were looking at me as like an equal, and I didn't want them to have to like babysit me, because I just feel like my ego got the best of me, and I didn't want them to like look down on me because I was counting this for course credit. So some of them I didn't have signed, so I just worked for free because I enjoyed the networking. Yeah. Okay, let's go to opportunities, which was so great, and it really kind of started on campus, being able to work with different campus offices. When I worked with the veterans and military office on campus, we put on a few events with them throughout the year, and then just getting into the SID world and being able to have like my name thrown out there whenever somebody needs help was like so cool to me. Like Evan O'Donnell, he is up at Montana State Billings, and he knew of somebody who needed help in California with the Stanislaus tournament. So he's like, oh, Sarah did good at like my tournament here, like here's her information, contact her. So that was like freaking cool, like there's just something so unique about like athletics, because you could like pick up random things, and like that's how you meet people, is like not your like day-to-day job necessarily, but like doing the extra work. Like my boss and I went to we worked the UCLA game, and we did the stats there, and that's so cool because it's like the Pac-12, and I mean we work at APU, and just kind of cool to see like how the different levels do things differently, and even like surprisingly it's similar. A lot of the things are the same, like the stat crew is the same. They all struggle with keeping up with social media and game time because they're balancing everything game day. So the opportunity to be able to see the insides of a lot of like hosting tournaments and this track meet, and just with the logistics that I just like am a huge fan of. Like I love checklists and this and that. Okay, let's see. Hopefully I'm not. Oh, it's already 8:30. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. Threats. Let's see. The Joe. Okay, yeah. So the threats. I already kind of talked about weather, but just like the hours and trying to be in more places than one, like at one time. So during the track meet, which I was working for this internship, my APU softball team was playing at Concordia, so it was like I was like on my phone watching stats, trying to like live tweet so that it felt like I just want my teams to have like all the attention that they deserve when they're competing. So like I'm always tweeting for them, or like social media, like Instagram, just because like they work so hard, and even though they aren't having like a great season, they deserve to like be recognized for their success. So like we have a couple standout freshmen, and Kat Ung, who is our pitcher, is just like holding her own, and they deserve to be noticed like during their game. So I would like live tweet from APU campus about the Concordia game. So kind of the threats of just like missing out on not necessarily opportunities, but just like missing out is awful, and you just want to be everywhere, especially if like I only have one team right now, but like if I go on, like my like supervisors have 3 to 4 or like even more like teams that are playing at one time. And I think just recognizing that you can't do it all, and you won't be able to do it all, so don't even try to do it all, because you're just going to worry yourself. So that's kind of threats. This next slide is about my values, faiths, and beliefs, and I'm going to just read you guys this letter that was written to me by a student worker who I like literally framed this because it's like whenever I'm like having a hard day in the office or just like life in general, it's kind of like a nice reminder. So let me like zoom into this. Not that much. Okay. Okay, so it says, Sarah, wow, I'm so thankful for you. I really look up to you because you show other women what it looks like to be a badass in a man's world. You are one of the hardest working women I've ever met. I love your heart and passion and how you give your everything, give your all in everything you do. You are such a joy to be around, and I always learn something new when I'm around you. Thank you for teaching me so much. I am so thankful for being a part of this team at APU. You all have made such a big impact on my life, and I truly, what does it say? Ooh. I truly can't thank you enough. I am so excited to see where the Lord takes you. Keep working hard and loving others along the way. You are a role model and amazing friend. Stay in touch. I'm so proud of you. And that is like gives me goosebumps just because Sierra, I met her like my first semester as a GA, and I was struggling just to kind of like get a hold on like what my responsibilities were. So being able to grow in my profession, academically, like faith-based wise, and just like everything kind of like, even though you don't think you're doing it, like you're doing it, like everybody's watching what you're doing, and you can impact people in so many ways, negative, good ways, you just never know. So this kind of was like a huge reminder to like even like internships, like when you were just with like Hung at Stanislaus or like Evan or anybody else, it's like you never know what kind of impact you're going to be making on them, and them doing the same for you, because like obviously Sierra made a huge impact just with this letter. So yeah, I think that was huge. Okay, so what time am I at? Okay, 12 minutes. So we're going to talk about Strengths Finders, because I've never taken Strengths Finders, but in the capstone class, well, in my first class here at APU, I took an ASI for the first time, and then, which was cool because then it was like at the end of the program, we took the ASI, and we had like our superiors or bosses or friends kind of answer the same questions about us. And so did I. So like just to compare from the beginning to end of the program, like where we've grown or what's changed. And on here, I kind of put the chart of like what my bosses or superiors, like whoever took it for me on my behalf, what they think of me. So let's see what this says. This says intrinsic is like my strengths in like achieving styles. So I'll just like explain what this means briefly. So intrinsic people prefer to be very self-motivated. They do not wait for others to help them. They look within themselves both for motivation and for standards of excellence, even when others assure that they're doing a great job. They believe that what they've done isn't enough. They're often dissatisfied with their work, particular if they don't feel like they've given their best shot, which I kind of talked about a little, because like I love to give 100, like as much as I can to like something I have agreed to do, and that's why this internship kind of like pushed me a little, just because I knew I couldn't do everything. You know, I had to say no to some opportunities, and it like killed me inside. So yeah, this was like kind of interesting just to like look back at, because I was like, how weird is this? Is just like exactly how I feel about the internship, is just like being able to be self-motivated because you're in charge of it. Like if you don't find the internship, like you don't get it, you know, and just like being proactive in everything you do. I think being intrinsic was a big help with completing these internships. I also take pride in there are like some other skills that like aren't on any test, I don't think, but things that like I take pride in, like being able to multitask, manage time. I'm super adaptable and accountable and dependable, which are like almost the same thing, but different. I think just being adaptable and flexible is like what I've learned. If I had to like say two things I've learned from this internship is being like flexible and adaptable, kind of like rolling with the punches and just like running with what you've got because sometimes that's all you have. Okay, what time am I? Okay, I'm over 15. Joy. Okay, let's see what my last slide is. Evaluation of work duties at the internships. Okay, so let's see, which one am I gonna start with? Okay, so I'll go over like briefly because we've kind of already gone over these in like forums, or at least I've mentioned them. So like the tournaments I've worked for softball, I've done stats, and then for the PacWest conference tournament, I did social media. The regional tournament, I did social media. I organized photos. I did the press conference, the post-press conference, which was rough with losing teams, but awesome with the winning team who won it all. And then just recently, the Brian Clay Track Invitational, I was in charge of organizing about 7 meals, so like more than 7. I did breakfast every morning for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I did lunch for Wednesday, Thursday, and then I did dinner Thursday, Friday. So that was a lot going in because I got a lot of stuff donated, so we didn't have to pay for it. I got like 10 dozen Krispy Kreme donuts donated for Friday, which was like the last hurrah, 'cause it's the last day and everybody's like dragging their feet. And then I got breakfast for the first 2 days donated. And then Jimmy John's, I got lunch like half like discounted for the first 2 days. And then I went and like did all like we need restock, like the coach's tent, hospitality, which I was kind of like in charge of. So kind of keeping that stocked up. And then I did coach's check-in, which was crazy because they were like handing me thousands of dollars and I just checked their name and like hold on to it. So I did that at the track meet. What else did I do? The zoo here had a concession, so I just like made sure that was running well. A few times I stepped in to do ticketing, but kind of if it was slow at one place, I'd go to the next and make sure like that was taken care of. And if that slowed down, I'd do like the same thing. Yeah, I think I've hit everything. Yeah, I did compliance and like department special events throughout the semester. Just like at random, we did a couple like special events with like Girl Scouts and like the Brick Games with the Cornerstone Cup with Viola, which could be clinched this Friday, so that's cool. Yeah, so it's been kind of all over the place, and I'm at 18. Wait, what is this? 18? Yeah, my camera or my whatever computer's dirty. One take, and that's all she wrote. Bye, guys.